Hello and welcome to the System Flow 2 tutorial. I'm Stefan Bobinger, the developer and engineer here at Synthesizer Studio Berlin. Today I want to give you a detailed overview of our new granular drone instrument, System Flow 2, which is now also capable of keyboard mode with ADSR and MPE. We updated the UI also for a easy use with the simple B view and an extensive A view with all the parameters exposed. So today I want to give you a detailed overview how you can use System Flow 2 and what the new features are compared to our original freeware. This is now a paid update version. For System Flow 2, we updated the sample libraries for the instrument for each grain slot with 126 and 127 samples correspondingly from our extensive collection of vintage synthesizers from Prophet 10, Jupiter 4, System 700, and some field recordings. For map 1 and for map 2, we have some Brahm sounds we developed, and you can also get as our sample libraries, and some space samples. Then we added some mini moog, some memory moog, some guitar and some glitch noises, EMS Synthi AKS samples, CS80 samples, broken OBX samples, which was in the repair at the moment, and we found some crazy sounds that we thought would be quite great for this granular instrument, and some ARP 2600 samples. And these can be chosen through the sample knob next to the waveform view. So here 127 samples, and here 126, and the last slot is open. So for everybody to understand, you can also drop your own samples. So go to your sample folders. Let's try this one. So you can drop any sample also into the sample slots here, but remember, if you turn the knob, this sample will get will get overwritten again. So you can save the sample that you drop in here with your project, but then please don't move the sample knob. Or if you want to add your own samples into the instrument, you can replace the samples here, open the waveform view, and then add this to your, add your own samples in here, and then you can also modulate the sample knob here from your DAW with any modulator or automation, and then you can have a moving sample running through your instrument. So let's show you what I mean. So here you can turn the grain length up. So let's say the grain length should be now a second. So here you have the parameters to control the grain instrument. So both sides of the instrument are basically the same, except for the random sources. And these are available for all modulatable parameters. You can choose random source 1 through 4 or LFO 1 and 2. And the rest here is basically the same on each side. So here is the grain sampler. You can choose the position of the modulation on top here. So when you have a position here, if the arrow only shows to the right, it's only unipolar modulation to the right, and or like if you turn the amount into minus territory, it would go to the left. And let's turn frequency 2 up and maybe play a note. And then you can see how the sample position now gets modulated through random source 1. You can choose a different source here. Next to the amount, there's the position mod source. And if you want some more jitter, you always get a little jitter option on top of each knob next to the grain slot. So here we can also add some more jittering. And jitter alone, you can see without any amount for the mod position, is quite a small movement. So if you want big movements, always use the amount. And then if you want an LFO, you can choose LFO 1 or 2. And so this would be the position modulation. And you can also play polyphonically. So you can hear the position modulation is independent also for each finger. So don't hesitate to try this out also in the polyphonic mode. And the pitch here only has a pitch modulation here on the side. Maybe easier to hear with a more pitched sample. So with each new grain start, you get a new pitch here. And this also gets modulated through the random source 2 or random source 3 for the blue grain slot. If you just want to have some pitch jitter, just turn the jitter here up. So then we have the grain length here. And this we can jitter as well. So and the grain density. So if you just have one grain, you can also hear there's a fade going on. If you don't want any fade, basically you just turn it to 10%. And then here you can also smooth everything a little bit and turn the fade up to 100%. So this would be 4 fingers, and if you play maybe 8, And all of this was now without filter or reverb. So if you want to make the whole thing a bit more interesting and moving, I would usually always take the reverb here. And we have now 82 presets in bank 1 and then 3 in bank 2. So I guess 85 presets for just the reverb all in all, that you can mix and match with your drone instrument on the left. And maybe let's go for flow 3, which is a new preset for the reverb. And now for the level, we have here the 2 level knobs for the left and the right slot, and here in the middle is the overall master level. And here in the middle, there's the ADZ level, which stands for aftertouch or Z pressure, and which you can use both in the ADSR and MPE modes to make the tones a little bit louder with pressure. So you can turn this up to 2, which will give you quite a bit of dynamic control over the sound. And then the next level, to make it a bit more interesting, normally would be to turn on the filter and turn on the mod amount in one or the other direction. I usually go for one of the random sources and smooth it a little bit here, so you can see when the smooth is on, the whole movement is not as abrupt, and then you can here move it slowly. And the random sources are also left and right independent, and here for the LFO sources you can offset the left and right modulation source for the filters, so you get a nice stereo movement in your sound. And if you use a LFO for the modulation, let's take LFO 1, then you can also control the speed of the LFO with some pressure or Y-axis modulation in MPE or ADSR mode, only pressure, and MPE, Y and Z modulation for the speed of the LFOs. As you can hear, they are also polyphonic, the modulation sources, so each finger can have their own speed for LFO, depending on pressure or Y-axis position in MPE mode. So let's try a preset maybe to show you the full extent of let's go for this one. And let me put reactor into the MPE mode and then press MPE, and now system flow is MPE capable. if you go for the simple B view, we added a little view for the pitch bend, so you can see how your notes are getting bended. And as you can see, like in the easy A view, when you press the corresponding text for each mode, also the displays here on the right side would change correspondingly. So if you press drone, it will tell you you need to press play, like in the original system flow instrument. You always needed to press play and play up to 4 notes. So if we try this, I have to take reactor out of the MPE mode again, and then it will work normally again with normal keyboard or push. And then I have to press play in my DAW. And as you can hear in this sound, we also use the overdrive and the delay on the left side. So if we turn these off, now add the overdrive again. And the delay. And change the sample. Pitch it down. 100% reverb. And now we can also maybe just morph from one preset to the next. So as you can hear, we added quite a big palette of sounds. So you can make chilled out, drones, but you can also go super cyberspace and develop your own future background or let's say computer game ambience. Yeah, and now you can also play it as a normal keyboard instrument with your ADSR mode. Or even MPE, capable with MPE and reactor in MPE mode. The only thing you have to consider, now it's a bit more CPU heavy. So I'm running it here on a Ryzen 7950 X3D, and I would say it should be capable to the last processors up to that have came out since 2020. So if you have a CPU that's newer than 2020, you should be capable to run System Flow 2. And for everybody else who still wants to use it but knows like they might have to buy a computer sooner or later, you can still turn the sampling factor down to half of it, and then the processing power will be cut to half. And if you just want to play it in ADSR mode and don't want to use the MPE mode, you can also go into the edit here in Reactor and change the voice amount here for System Flow 2. If you don't have a powerful enough system, it might also just reduce the voices for you so you can play it. So that's why the voices are unlocked here. And yeah, you can change them however you want and how powerful your PC is. But if you want to play the MPE mode, you need to have the 16 voices running. Otherwise, the notes won't get distributed correctly. And another new feature compared to the old version is now we have virtual analog filters that are much better sounding and have a nice view here, and you can choose different filter slopes, original and low pass with boost, and the boost is here. You get the high cut here, and you can also modulate the filter cutoff with aftertouch and pressure, and also the y-axis corresponding to these knobs. Then we added the overdrive and the delay for each sample slot. So if I add the delay now, and some overdrive. So you can distort each sample individually and then send it in the reverb. So the reverb also has the morph function and the randomization function. So you can create your own presets very easily. You can also just use any position between two presets and create a new one, or just use the randomization function. So overall, System Flow 2 is a granular playground for droney sounds, and you can also just make crazy stuff with, if you just use some field recordings or some noises and play them polyphonically without the reverb. Then it definitely is like not one of these typical drone instruments, but you can make any crazy sound, basically. So this was a detailed overview of the new System Flow 2 reactor, granular, drone, ADSR and MPE instrument from Synthesizer Studio Berlin, with a big collection of samples from Synthesizer Studio Berlin and Synthesizer Museum Berlin. Thank you for watching and have fun droning.